Bully is without a doubt one of my favourite games of all time, but like with everything else in life, it has its faults. So today's video is me pointing out 5 ways Rockstar ruined Bully. And no, this isn't me saying Bully is a crap game, or it's awful, or anything like that. This is just me picking fault with some of the things Rockstar have done with Bully. With that out of the way, let's get straight on to the list. I feel that Bully is one of those games that is just too easy. Okay, maybe not for beginners to the game, because I'd be lying if I said I breezed through Bully during my first playthrough, but I feel once the main story is beaten, the average player can do anything they want in the game without much issue. Like, once you've beaten the whole story, anybody can single-handedly take on all of the jocks with a spud gun or just by mashing the punch button repeatedly. Because when you shoot anybody with a spud gun in the game, they pretty much get instantly knocked out. There's just no challenge to it, meaning Jimmy can breeze through any fight he wants. There's just no challenge left in Bully after the main game, I feel. Okay, excluding that. Even the tougher kids like Damon and Biff can be taken down pretty easily, because they just don't attack frequently enough. While I think the nerds like Algie are probably the perfect difficulty, the difficulty for clicks like the jocks is just non-existent, it's just too easy. And I'm not just talking about the fighting difficulty either, the authority chases are just way too easy as well. Oh, you just assaulted a police officer by throwing a brick at him? We can just run inside a store and wait that out. Or we can just jump on somebody's car and use our infinite ammo slingshot to deal with them. The Bulworth police seemingly don't know how to jump either. And after like 30 seconds, all is forgiven and all is forgotten about. So, you can get away with just assaulting police officers without any issues. What I like most about Grand Theft Auto or even Red Dead Redemption's Wanted system is how endless the law enforcement are, and the longer you survive, the harder it becomes to survive. For example, take Grand Theft Auto, you shoot one officer, the next thing you know you have like an endless wave of the police, the FBI, the SWAT, even the army come after you, until you die, escape or get busted, or by collecting Wanted stars in the previous games. Like, it starts off easy, you have the police armed with pistols versus somebody armed with an M4 rifle. Then after a while, SWAT vans dispatch, carrying like 4 officers who are now armed with Uzis, they drop out the helicopters and all that, and eventually the army will come, armed with tanks, M4 rifles, which make evading or even fighting the law enforcement really difficult. Okay, while I'm not expecting the army to go after a 15-year-old boy armed with a stink bomb on top of a non-moving car, it'd be better if the police were endless until Jimmy either escapes from them or gets arrested. There's just no challenge at all for the law enforcement to the game. I can understand the prefects not spawning, as there's only like 4 of them, but why not send the teachers out once the prefects are dealt with? They have a lot more health than the prefects, I think anyway. It's been a long time since I used the default health system, thank you mods. And like, it'd actually give the player less time to rest, since usually when the prefects are knocked out, the job will need to deplete within 10 seconds. One thing I believe Rockstar half-assed was the map. For the most part, Bulworth is a really solid map, but if you've been a hardcore player, like me, then after a while you'll start to notice there's a lot of inconsistencies with the map. Let's start off with the Academy. The Academy exterior has 3 floors, the inside only has 2 floors, not to mention the windows don't match up. Also with the Academy, if you enter through the back of the school, you end up on the west side of the school. How does this even happen? Did Jimmy crawl through a vent or something to get here? On the subject of the Academy, do you really believe an entire classroom can fit into such a small room? Another inconsistent map design is Harrington House. If you go around the back of Harrington House, you'll see the trail leading to the observatory which Jimmy takes in Stronghold Assault. But inside Harrington House, there's a massive forest here instead of the trail. One of the things the community have noticed about the poor map design in Bully is the boys' dorm. In Bully there's like 10 girls and 50 boys, or something like that, yet the boys have this very small dorm to house most of them, while the girls' dorm have even more beds than there are girls attending the school. This gets even stupider when you realise that in the beta, the boys' dorm had 2 floors. So why did Rockstar even change that? I can name a few more inconsistent map designs. Like, even a non-existent place is mentioned in the mission Wrong Part of Town. In that mission, Johnny and his crew are threatening Cornelius Johnson about the whereabouts of Algernon. Cornelius mentions that Algie is at the pizza parlour, which does not even exist at all. Well, you could argue that most of these changes are beta leftovers Rockstar never changed, but usually game companies do so much to try and remove most traces of these beta map designs. Now this is one that really does annoy me, especially from a company like Rockstar, who are often known for their attention to detail in all of their games. Bully has quite a few story inconsistencies. Take Chapter 1 for example, the whole class president debate thing. You've got Ernest Jones versus Ted Thompson, you've got the banners and posters scattered all across the school, starting from the very moment you arrive at the gates of Bulworth. At some point during Chapter 1, you finally get to experience a mission about this whole class presidency, when you help Ernest Jones during his speech. So what comes next after this mission? Do you find dirt on Ted? Do you sabotage Ted's speech? Do you rig the votes in Ernest's favour? Well, no. It just abruptly ends, right after that mission. We never find out who won that debate, you never hear anybody talking about it, Jimmy doesn't even get the chance to vote, and even all the campaign posters that were scattered all across the school are just suddenly gone. It's never mentioned again, not even in Chapter 4, when Jimmy helps Ernest take down the jocks. Would it have been that hard to have Ernest say a one-off line about the whole election thing, just to give a little bit of closure to that story? It's weird because, as I said, Rockstar are often known for their attention to detail in their games, and had this been GTA, I guarantee there would have been an in-game radio news broadcast saying who won. And it's not just here where the story doesn't add up either. Take the whole Hattrick vs Galloway mini storyline. It spans multiple chapters over the course of 5 missions or so. We have a good solid story of Hattrick trying to get Mr Galloway fired, but being an alcoholic on the job. It's a good simple story, but at the end of it, Hattrick is about to get Galloway fired for drinking. But Jimmy comes in and saves the day by showing Dr Crabblesnitch proof that Mr Hattrick was sending answers to students, which in turn, Dr Crabblesnitch fires Hattrick. So it's a good solid ending, but there's one issue. Mr Hattrick remains at the Academy, especially on the Scholarship edition of the game, and the Anniversary editions I might add, where he still teaches math, despite the fact he's been fired. And it's a similar case for Mr Burton, who Dr Crabblesnitch fires at the end of the game for being a pervert, but he still teaches gym class, despite the fact he's supposed to be unemployed now. One of my favourite features in Bully is how much we can customise Jimmy. We can choose to have him look elegant in a tuxedo, we can make him look like a bloody punk rocker, a greaser, or a clown. The character customisation in Bully is one of the best in any of Rockstar's games. But Nathan, if the customisation is one of Rockstar's finest, why are you saying Rockstar ruined Bully with it? Well, you see, Rockstar screwed up 2 very simple parts of it. The first part, you can have Jimmy look the way you want, nice outfit, nice hairstyle, and you think, maybe Jimmy would look better with a hat. So you go to buy a hat, and his hair just reverts back to the default buzz cut, and completely ruins your image of Jimmy. It's even worse in the Scholarship edition, when after you beat math class, you unlock the nerd outfit, which gives Jimmy a stereotypical nerd outfit. But even though the headwear is still glasses, Jimmy still loses his hair when you give him the glasses to wear. How did Rockstar manage to screw that up? In GTA San Andreas, which released 2 years before Bully did, they had this system done perfectly. You give CJ a nice new hairstyle, you go and wear a hat, and CJ keeps his hair without it reversing back. Well, unless you had an afro. So why couldn't they have stuck with this kind of system? If anything, it'd be less work for them, since all they'd have to model is the hat, not over 100 models of Jimmy's head. Secondly, there's a whole tattoo system in Bully. You can buy a tattoo for Jimmy thinking it looks cool, and you later realise it doesn't look that good on Jimmy after all. So you go to return to the tattoo parlour to get it removed, and you don't actually have an option to remove it. So you're stuck with that tattoo forever on that save file. So why can't we remove tattoos? It seems pointless to have such a broken system in the game. One of the things I like about the Grand Theft Auto games is the variety in weather. Like it'll be sunny for a while, then cloudy, then thundering, etc. Okay, Bully has this kind of weather too, but weather other than sunny is rarely used. And it's only sunny forever in Chapter 6, like you don't see any rain or anything like it at all. All the time I've played Bully, I've noticed that it rains like once, maybe twice throughout an average playthrough, excluding the big game and final showdown where it rains regardless. But in free mode it rains for like about 30 seconds then just stops. I do like how when it rains you'll see the NPCs pull out umbrellas, and that's the only time you can actually acquire an umbrella for Jimmy. Which shows that Rockstar did actually put a bit of effort into how NPCs react to the weather. Like you'll either see them pull out umbrellas, or you'll actually see them run indoors. But the fact it rains less than it does in a desert makes me wonder why Rockstar ditched weather variety in Bully. The biggest weather variety I've seen is in Chapter 3, where snowfalls are a lot more common. As in most of my playthroughs, I've noticed snowfalls tend to happen in Chapter 3 every other day. Every day just feels the same because of the lack of weather, and I feel Rockstar were really lazy with the weather system, since they managed to work it out perfectly fine in all their other games. So there's my 5 reasons why I believe Rockstar ruined Bully. That being said, I still think Bully is an absolute masterpiece of the game and they really should make a sequel. Anyway, let me know why you disagree with me in the comments below. Thank you for watching and have a good day.